Assalamu alaikum everyone. Hope you all are well. Today we are going to talk about what lives in the garden. And here we will talk about trees and flowering plant. So let's start our lesson. In this lesson you will examine the life cycle of a plant and then you will identify the parts of a tree and a flowering plant. So let's talk about first life cycle of a plant. The first step in the life cycle of a plant is the seed needs to be planted in the soil. The seed can be planted in a pot, inside or in the ground, outside. Students, a plant needs three things to grow: soil, water, and sunlight. Once the seed is planted in the soil and watered, it will take about 1 to 2 weeks before it starts to grow. Once the seed grows, it will start to develop and roots appear. The roots help the plant get food and water from the soil. Now what will happen next? In the next few weeks, the seed will begin to push through the soil. It is still very tiny during this stage and the roots will fix it in the soil and keep it from blowing away. As it continues to grow, it will begin to get leaves and the stem will grow longer and longer. The stem helps the plant stand upright. Now see students, what is that? After some days, a bud will begin to appear on the plant. As you can see, this arrow shows the bird. This bird is very small. You can say it as a baby flower because it appears before the flower. Now students, here is the last step. A bud will turn into a flower. Seeds are located in the center of the flower. Depending on the type of seed planted, the flower may turn into either a fruit or vegetable or stay as a flower. We have learned about the life cycle of a plant. Now let's talk about what a plant needs to grow. So plant need air, sunlight, water and nutrients or food to grow. So students, what do you think would happen if a plant did not have sunlight or water? So let's talk about it. If a seed is not warm enough, it will not grow because seed is getting the heat from the sunlight. And if a plant does not have enough light, it will grow to be tall and weak. As it searches for light, it will probably die. And remember students, if a plant is not watered enough, its stem will be breakable and have very dry leaves. It will finally die. That's why sunlight and water is very important to grow a healthy plant. Now let's talk about parts of a plant. All the parts of a plant grows in an order. Like first, roots will appear from the seed and then stem will appear. After some time, leaves will begin to appear. As the plant grows further, a baby flower or a bird will appear and this bird will turn into a beautiful flower. And lastly, you can see the petals of a flower. Students, let's repeat together the parts of a plant: roots, stem, leaf, bud, flower and petal. Well done everyone. Students, as we have learned about the parts of a flowering plant, now next let's talk about some trees. So students, there are two types of trees, deciduous and evergreen. What do you think the difference is? Let's talk about them. An evergreen tree keeps its green leaves all year around. You can remember this from the name evergreen. But a deciduous tree loses its leaves each year. We have learned about the two types of trees. Now let's talk about parts of a tree. The parts of a tree include roots, trunk, branches, and leaves. Now students, after learning the life cycle of a plant, the parts of a flowering plant and parts of a tree, let's do some work together. This is the worksheet about life cycle of a plant. You need to cut the pictures which are given below and paste it on the correct box to complete the life cycle of a plant. As in first step, we need soil to grow a seed. After that, what we need? Yes, seeds. And remember two things which are very important for a plant to grow. Yes, water and sunlight. It will grow further and turns into a beautiful flowering plant. Now, in this next worksheet, you need to label the parts of a plant. As the names of the parts are given, you will look at the picture and fill the spaces with the correct part. As we have roots, stem, leaf, bud, and lastly flower. This is the end of the lesson, students. But let me ask you one question. If you could plant a garden, what kind of seeds would you plant? Think about it and discuss it with your friends.